Yo, JD here, Terror Limitless, and as you can see, we are back with some more. Okay, Tom87 here, guys, for another video, and once again, some more league racing content. And today we are here for round 4 for the Chinese Grand Prix. If you guys missed round 3 at Vietnam, which is the picture you can see in the background, then go check it out, guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right-hand corner of your screen. It was a very good race, our best race of the season so far. I don't want to spoil it too much, but if you guys haven't seen it, then now is your chance before we jump into major spoilers. So yeah, guys, go check it out and let me know what you thought. And with that said, we move into this weekend at China. Now this track is an interesting one because for me personally, it's not my favorite. It's probably my top 3 most disliked tracks on the calendar. Therefore, I'm not the best around here. My pace also isn't too great, and to compound that really in a way, this weekend I'm going to have to use my own setup again, which is, it's quick, but it's not to the level where you can really be that competitive in online league racing. Whereas in the last episode in Vietnam, we actually used a more competitive league racing setup that I got from someone, and we was a lot more on the pace, and we managed to get a 3rd place and podium finish. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a tricky one, like I said, because of the setup situation, but I'm still hoping for the best and hoping to have a good weekend. But guys, if you're excited for today's episode, then drop a like straight off the bat. And also, if you want to subscribe to the channel for more league racing content, guys, then I'd massively appreciate it, as I'm trying to hit 60k subs by the end of the year. But with that said, enough waffling, let's get into the episode. So first of all, we jump into qualifying. Now, China is a bit of a funny track because you don't really want to qualify on soft tyres. You want to try and qualify on the mediums, or avoid qualifying altogether and then just starting the race on the hard compound tyres. So what I did was I actually went out on the soft tyres for a banker lap that I was going to purposely invalidate right here by running off the track, and that way we get to set a banker without having the time officially count, which is very important. So it means we don't have to start the race on these tyres, and I just want to get an idea as to where our pace is. As we set a 129.9 on those soft tyres. It wasn't a perfect lap, there's a bit more time to find, but that gives me a benchmark to aim for, because this is now going to be my one and only lap in this qualifying session, and it's going to be on the medium tyres. So let's see how the lap goes, and I'm going to leave you guys with a full lap of Shanghai on the mediums, and I'll get back to you once the lap is over. There we go, across the line, and it's going to be P4, 3.5 tenths off of Scrippy and Kevin, it looks like. So slightly off the pace, you could say, ahead of Filipich, who's behind us. But crucially, at the end of the session, it's going to be Michael Tenidza on pole position for Red Bull here at the Chinese Grand Prix. It's going to be Jan Fehler in the McLaren in 2nd place on mediums, who is going to get on the front row. And then it's Formula Kevin, Scrippy on row 2. We are on row 3 alongside Filipich, who is next to us in the Williams. He actually qualified on the soft tyres. So to be fair, we was half a second to 6 tenths off our banker lap on soft tyres, which wasn't too bad. More or less where I expected. Unfortunately, the guys on mediums ahead of me had too much pace, and I couldn't quite match that. So, all things considered, not a terrible qualifying, but we are still last of the medium tyre qualifiers, and we are a bit off the pace, and that's just naturally down to the setup, really. I wasn't that quick with my own one, and that's a bit of a shame, but that's just the way things are. Looking further behind though, it's worth noting that Kimi's, Alessio Di Capua, Warren, Paris, and Donator, and the championship leader Camille Common all did not qualify, and they will be starting the race on the hard compound tyres. So a bit of an alternate strategy from those guys, and we'll have to watch out for them in the race tomorrow. Either way, guys, that is going to be it for the qualifying report. We're now going to move into the race here for the Chinese Grand Prix. And as you can see, before we jump into things for the race, we are going to be starting on the medium tyres that we qualified on, then moving on to the hard tyres for a very simple one-stop strategy, which is definitely the preferred way to go around here. And then, of course, also underfueling the car by half a lap, just to be a bit lighter and a bit more competitive in the first part of the race. And, of course, no rain expected. So, with that said, we move into the formation lap here at the end. And you can see, just getting ready for the start of the race. Tire temperatures are pretty much in an optimal range. I did a good job of getting them in the sweet spot on the warm-up lap. And we're now going to get into our grid slot and get ready for the start of the race. So here we go, revving up the engines, aiming for about 11,500 revs as the lights come on here at Shanghai. And it's going to be lights out and away we go. And it's not a great start, to be fair. Filipich, of course, on the soft tyres as you'd expect, getting a very good launch off the line. Down to turn 1, bit of contact there. Kevin gets sent out wide, and we're going to move down the inside of turn 2 now, trying to make a move. Look at that Strippy as well, almost 3 wide there as Kevin gets a big old squeeze into the apex of turn 3. We're going to try and go around the outside of the Mercedes of Strippy here, and now racing down towards turn number 5, the hairpin. Can we make any kind of move? I'm going to go to the inside, switch to the outside, shake and bake, trying to get a bit of space, but unfortunately just not enough grip and momentum on the outside line. We tried to re-challenge, potentially down the inside of the left-hander there, but I thought better of it, and I'm going to be patient and wait for my chance later on as Filipich gets a great start from P7 up to P3. So very good stuff from the Williams driver there, and the Strippy now running a bit wide through the double left-handers here, which is going to give us a chance to keep the pressure on as we head towards the end of Sector 2 into the start of Sector 3. And again, just trying to keep that pressure on as out front, Jan Fehler leads the way on the medium tyres in the McLaren. He's managed to jump Marco Tanidze, who's also on soft tyres in P2. So for now, we're tucked in behind Scrippy. On paper, we should be a net P3 because Tanidze and Filipich should be 2-stopping in this race. So if we can get past Scrippy, we should be in a net P2 in this race. As speaking of Scrippy, he goes defensive a little bit there, kind of giving me a bit of a precautionary weave. We try to have a bit of a look under braking and locking up, but unfortunately no way through for now as we end lap number 1. Eventually we move on to lap 3, and of course now DRS is enabled, and we're going to try and make a move here. But having said that, Kevin is getting a bit too close for comfort here. I'm trying to use the slipstream from the car ahead, but Kevin is fancying an overtake down to the hairpin. He goes and has a bit of a look on the brakes. I try to go as late as possible. I leave some room on the inside, and we just managed to stay in front, getting a nice bit of traction on the exit, and crucially we stay ahead of the Racing Point driver for now as we head on to lap number 4. And speaking of which, you can see now Scrippy starting to put a move on Michael Tanidze, who started to go backwards on those soft tyres. I'm guessing he was probably overheating, and this is now when the things kind of open up a little bit because Jan Fehler starting to get a bit of a gap out front in the McLaren. You got Filipich in second, and now Scrippy P3. So we need to get this moved on here, and that's exactly what we're going to do, because behind us Alessio Di Capua has overtaken Kevin on those hard compound tyres, and of course Alessio is probably the fastest guy here. So we need to get past Tanidze and get a bit of a gap to the Ferrari behind, because I don't want to get sucked into that battle with the hard compound tyre runners, because they're going to be our rivals later on in the race once we switch tyres in the pit stop. So down the inside we go on Tanidze and up to P4 in this race, and we can now begin our chase to try and catch up to Scrippy and try and pass him in this race. And we move on to lap 6. You can see behind us Alessio now 1.6 behind us, so he has dropped away a little bit as Filipich pits off those soft tyres. So we're back up to that net P3 I was talking about at the beginning of the race. And at this point now, it's all about trying to line up this move on the Mercedes and trying to get it done. And you can see here now on lap 7, we're actually quite close on the back straight, using the DRS, the rich mix, and also a bit of the overtake. Not all of it, just a little bit, because the overtake is quite hard to save around here. We're going to go down the inside into the hairpin. I had a bit of a look, little lock up as well, but Scrippy being cautious, leaving some room there on the inside. Slight bit of contact, but still things continue as normal. Meanwhile, Alessio behind now 1.1 adrift, and he's closing in on us as we pick up our first warning for track limits. But here we go, we're going to make this move this time down towards turn 1. We pull to the inside and we make a nice simple overtake, and we move up into second place in the race. We do run a bit wide though heading into turn 2, and that's going to give Scrippy the chance to get back on the inside on the cutback, but we just about cover it off and keep him behind for now, and that's going to be second place for us in the Chinese Grand Prix. We move on to the end of the lap as we set a brand new personal best, not by much, but still a personal best nonetheless. And I had a bit of pace, you know, but then on lap 10, a bit wide into the hairpins. First signs of tyre wear starting to kick in now on these medium tyres. And meanwhile behind us, you can see we've got Strippy, Alessio and Kevin all 1.1 behind me. So it's all very close and compact behind. Meanwhile, Failer out front is nearly 4 seconds up the road now. And he was much quicker than me, unfortunately. I tried to catch him, you know, I tried to push and turn the engine up, but unfortunately, Failer was just too quick. You can see now the gap, 4.2 seconds. And as I say that, Jan Failer pits, and so does Strippy as well, and also Kevin. So it looks like every single medium tyre runner is pitting, whereas we're going to stay out for one more lap here, just to prolong the stint by one more, and hopefully that will help us at the end on the hard compound tyres, giving us a bit more tyre life. And you can see now at the end of lap 12, we are going to pit, and to be fair, it was worth it. It was a good in-lap from us. We was matching our personal best pretty much, and there was no harm really for me in doing that extra lap as Warren goes by there. And currently P7, we're going to see where the guys on the hard tyres are. So we've got Failer and Philip Pitch approaching behind us. We're going to box for the hard tyres ourselves, 2.6 of course, standard pit stop in online racing. And here goes Failer, he goes by, whereas Philip Pitch, is he going to go by? Yes, he does. And where is Strippy amongst all of this? It's close into turn one, very, very close. Slight bit of contact actually as I understeer wide on the cold tyres. I tried to hold on to that, and to be fair, it's a bit rough, but we do get the move and crucially stay ahead of the Mercedes, which was really, really important because we can now start chasing after Filipich, who has been on those hard tyres for a little while now. So you can see at the end of lap 13, pace was good. I was starting to get a bit of a gap, and you can see behind Strippy nearly 6 tenths behind us. And to be fair, I genuinely thought I was safe, even though Strippy was closing in here. I didn't consider him to be close enough, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Strippy goes for a huge dive, and you know, nowhere near the apex. I thought it was a bit of an aggressive move, personally, because I broke really, really late, and there was no way Strippy was making the corner without hitting me. So yeah, Strippy goes by. Luckily, we don't lose any front wing damage, which is good, as Paris is the first of the alternate strategy guys to pit, and he's going to feed up behind us. But yeah, overall disappointing because I was hoping to be ahead of Strippy, and you're going to see why in a minute, because he's going to kind of you know, prove why it was so crucial to keep track position over the Mercedes. And you can see it now on lap 14. I was thinking about a move on Strippy here, and he was going quite defensive, but Paris on those fresh mediums behind us, who just rejoined from the pit exit on this lap, he's a lot quicker than us, and he's going to go down the inside here, and there is some contact between the two of them. I don't know how Paris kept his front wing, but he did, and he got very, very fortunate there, because I thought I was lucky and Paris got some damage, which would have been great for us, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, and we've lost another place here in this race. As we set our personal best, the pace is still strong, more cars in the pit lane and leaving the pit exit. You've got Andy there in the Mercedes leaving the pit exit right now, and yeah, this was unfortunate because the timing really didn't go in my favour. I was lacking a bit of pace, I have to say, on these hard tyres compared to everybody else, and that's where the setup kind of let me down. But Andy here, going for a ridiculous move. I had to cover it off into the left-hander. It was a really, really aggressive move, and a bit pointless because the DRS zone's coming up in a minute. And again, Andy here going for a bit of a desperate dive. Again, it felt like to me, it happened to me in Vietnam in the last race, where Andy went for a bit of a, you know, a rash move into the final corner, and eventually, yeah, he got through. And I said, you know, fair play, just take the position, mate. I don't want to battle you. I personally don't enjoy battling Andy too much because also he's got a bit of lag going on most times, so I don't really trust it. And we let him go. So again, another place lost. I can't quite compete with these guys on mediums at the minute, so it is where it is. And it's annoying because you can see in front, Strippy is just behind Filipich now, and that's where I should have been had it not been for a big dive bomb. And we would have probably been ahead of the Williams by now, and you know, still comfortably ahead of this pack. But unfortunately, we're way down in P9 and behind 3 cars, which is not what I wanted. So it's not really worked out well for us. And we've got Kimiz in the pit lane there. We've also got Camille Common, the championship leader, rejoining in P9. And yeah, things are kind of stabilising to an extent as we move on to the end of lap 16 now, though. You can see still behind Andy, P7 currently, as Strippy sets the new fastest lap. And again, that's a sign that we could have been up there ourselves, because that's where we wanted to be. We've got Alessio leaving the pit exit right now on the mediums, and you can see just in front of Strippy makes the move on Filipich. So there you go, job done. The overtake is finished, and that's the move that I really wanted, but it hasn't worked out that way. And you can see now lap 17, there's a big battle up ahead. We tap Alessio there in the brake zone as he really brakes hard to not run into the back of Filipic. No wing damage for me, and it's also a bit of a lag tap, I feel like, because it was a very subtle tap, but nonetheless, Alessio facing the right way. Meanwhile, though, Camille Common, the championship leader, right behind us here on the back straight. I'm trying to get a slipstream from the cars in front, hence why I'm not defending the line into the hairpin, because I'd rather have the slipstream. But onto the brakes, down the inside goes Camille. There's contact. He hits Filipic. It's the exact same move as Paris before when he hit, I believe it was Scrippy in the hairpin, and we avoid the carnage once again. And I think Camille got some wing damage from that. I'm not quite sure. Either way, we're back up to P6 in this race, ahead of Filipic and back ahead of Camille for now. So we do get a couple of places. The only issue was we dropped out of DRS because of that sequence, and you know, we had to avoid the incident. We dropped out of the 1 second window of the 4 cars up ahead, so Paris, Alessio, Scrippy, and also I think it's Jan Fehler. We dropped out of that zone, which is a real shame, because now you can see Camille trying to challenge here as we go down towards turn 5. It's going to be tight. We're going to have to hold it on the inside line here, side by side with the championship leader. We get a bit better traction out of there, but Camille still keeping his nose in as we go into the fast left hand. I'm going to try and hang it on the outside on the marbles, which is going to give me the inside line through the next one, but Camille's still there, keeping his car there. We try to give him a bit of a squeeze, but he's having absolute none of it, and he makes a nice move down the inside and picks up P6, and really nothing we can do about that. And now we've got Kimmy's behind us in the Renault, who's also looking for the move. So again, you know, lacking a bit of pace. Those medium tyres, of course, working better, and I'm trying my best to compete with these, but it's not happening. And it's also hurting me seeing Scrippy in the Mercedes up the road when that should have been me. You know, it really started to bother me at this point in the race. And you can see now, here comes Kimmy's in the Renault, of course, a lot quicker than me on those medium tyres, and you know what's going to happen here. I'm getting boxed in because I can't cover the inside, but I don't want to hit the back of Camille Common, so I have to just brake early and take a precaution, and that gives Kimmy's a chance to go on the inside. We are going to try and let him go here, because ultimately I don't want to waste time battling, because also time penalties could be a factor in this race, and I want to try and keep it going. So I'm going to try and see if I can follow these guys, stick with their pace and stick with the DRS, because that's going to be the best way for us to get back into the race. I want to try and see if we can catch up to the train of cars ahead. And yeah, eventually we've done a good job. We managed to hold on. We pick up a second warning for track limits as we set a new personal best. And we've now got Warren behind us in the Haas, as Filipic is starting to drop off a little bit now in that Williams, of course, on those very old hard compound tyres. And you can see now in lap 21, here comes Warren in the Haas. It's going to be a very straightforward move. I'm trying to get a slipstream from the cars ahead, but Warren down the inside on the brakes. It's a huge lunge, a bit of contact again as I get pushed wide, but he's through nonetheless. And again, a bit of a scruffy move to the hairpin. Most people seemingly struggling for a bit of a clean move through there, even though I left the door wide open. And we're down to P9. Again, you know, trying to hold on to the best of my ability, trying to hang on to that DRS. But it was a frustrating race. We pick up a 3-second time penalty at the final corner for, you know, running a bit wide. And we do set a personal best. I'm trying to get back into DRS range, which is 1.1 seconds to the cars ahead. And we do just about manage that. And you can see now Warren and Camille battling on lap number 25. I believe Camille at this point got more wing damage, battling Kimmy's. And he's really struggling now, and he understeers into Warren. Warren gets pushed onto the grass, and I'll say thank you very much as we move back ahead of Warren for now and up into 8th place. And we know Camille is struggling with some wing damage and a lack of downforce here, and suddenly I have a chance to reclaim P7 in this race. So here we go, through the banking, lap 25. We're going to try and take that place back and make a move. We've got just about enough ERS and fuel to make it happen. So here we go, DRS in the McLaren. Slipstream, we're going to pull to the inside, and to be fair, Camille knew it wasn't much of a battle because of his wing damage, so he lets us go. We go down the inside, nice and easy on the brakes, a nice clean move, unlike other people in this race here today, and job done. And we move up into 7th place once again in this race. And now it's all about trying to pull away, because of course we've got a 3-second time penalty, and I need to build a gap. And just behind us, a couple of corners later, I believe there was contact again between Camille and Warren, and the gap has gone up to about 3 seconds with 3 laps to go. This could be massive. We've got Scrippy, Kimmy's, and I believe another car up the road. And if any of these 3 guys have time penalties as well, we could potentially benefit from them. So you can see behind us, Warren now 4.6. In that previous clip, There was another mistake, and the gap now went all the way up to 4.7. Alessio picks up the win. Kim is up the road. I'm trying to push as much as I can to close the gap here. Will we benefit from any penalties as we cross the line in P7? No, we don't. Unfortunately, we stay P7. We did pick up the personal best on the last lap, but it wasn't going to be enough for a fastest lap. And yeah, to be fair, it is what it is. Annoying because, you know, on the road due to penalties, Scrippy ended up ahead of us. So in a way, I'm quite happy that was the case. But on track, I think, you know, looking at it on paper, it should have been P4 for us today because, of course, Kimi's finished 9/10 ahead of us on the road. So I'm annoyed I got the penalty. The penalty was just kind of out of frustration because of the, you know, the setup issues I had and also the way the people got past me in this race. I wasn't too happy about it. So yeah, I think that penalty was kind of out of frustration, and I generally tried to drive without getting any penalties. You know, the last race in Vietnam, we kept it clean, but you can see Alessio picks up the win ahead of Andy, who gets second place. Jan Fehler on the podium for the first time. Kim is P4, Paris P5, Scrippy P6. We finished in 7th place ahead of Warren, Filipic, and also a key one here, Camille Common, the championship leader, only P10, and he scores 1 point in the race, and he finishes ahead of Tonidza and Formula Kevin, who got P12 in the end. Not quite sure what happened to him. I know he had some kind of issue, maybe internet related. So yeah, with that said, we move to the driver standings. So for the first time this season, Camille Common is not leading the championship. He got pushed off top spot by Alessio and Andinator. So Andy there up to the top of the standings, and he's 5 points clear of the Ferrari and 7 points clear of Camille. Paris P4, Warren P5. We are still in P6 after that race, so I'm happy with that. That's damage limitation for us, you know, considering how messy that race was and my lack of pace. We didn't change position in the championship, which is great for us. Kim is up to P7 ahead of Kevin, Scrippy, Brownie, Fehler, Filipic, Tonidza, FK Gaming, and Ulas. And it's very close, very competitive. We are equal on points on Warren, so hopefully we can try and get ahead soon. And there is an 11-point gap to Paris, so there is a bit of a gap there we need to try and make up. And finally, the constructor standings, we move up to P5 actually. We gain a place and overtake Racing Point, which is pretty decent. And, you know, for now, it's only myself driving because my teammate FK Gaming, unfortunately, is recovering from 2 broken arms, so hopefully we'll have him back very soon. Meanwhile, Mercedes take the lead at the top of the constructors ahead of Haas. And yeah, things are looking okay, to be fair. I think once we get into the European tracks, things will improve for me, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But guys, either way, that's going to be it from me here today. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a like, subscribe if you are new for daily F1 content on the channel, and also guys, check out the 2 videos on your screen right now. But that's going to be it from me here today, and I'll see you all next time for the Dutch Grand Prix. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.